Hi, I'm Carol Esser, and I am a Master Food Volunteer with Kansas State Extension. And the end of February, the 25th, is National Pancake Day. And so we wanted to prepare a pancake for you and just show you how easy it is, because many people rely on the boxed mixes, and yet when you create your own, you have a lot of more flexibility and you can control things like the sugar and the sodium that are in pancakes. The pancake is first developed, or the first recipe for pancakes was found in 15th century English cookbook. Although they found evidence of pancake-like creations in prehistoric diggings. And so the pancakes have been around for a long time, and they also are in every culture. And so one of the things that people kind of do is tend to make the same pancakes over and over and over. You want to stand over a griddle, and that can get kind of lengthy process, and it also can be kind of boring. And so we want to share with you another recipe, but also encourage you to think about maybe some other things that you might want to try with making pancakes. And so the recipe that we're going to make today is a peachy puff pancake. And so I started with a can of peaches, and this is no sugar added. And you can certainly use fresh peaches if they're in season, and you can find some that are really nice, or frozen peaches if you would like to do that. If you do choose frozen, make sure that you let them thaw first and drain. I've drained the liquid off of the peaches already, and there's quite a bit left, and so you might want to save that for something like a smoothie another morning, because it's just another way of utilizing all of the different things that are coming together for this recipe. So you start by draining the peaches, and I have sprayed this pie pan really well. It's a 9-inch pie pan, and I have cut some of the peaches smaller, because sometimes in the can they're not quite all even. And they don't need to be totally even, but you want them to be kind of similar size. And so over that, we are going to be sprinkling a mixture of 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And so we're going to just sprinkle that over the top. And this is going to make it gooey and give it a little bit of sweetness, but not a huge amount of sweetness. And so we start with that, and that lets the sugar and the peaches all kind of interact together. And then we're going to make the pancake. And there are lots of different recipes for pancakes, but essentially they're usually eggs and flour and milk and butter and maybe things like vanilla and other things. And so there are probably things that you already all have in your pantry. And so you could easily whip this together an evening when you get home and maybe you're kind of tired and you just want to do something simple. So in the bowl here are 4 eggs that I've already started beating. And I like to use this kind of container to make the pancakes because it has a pour spout. So it'll be easy for me to just pour the pancake in and bake it, and it just makes the whole process a lot smoother. And so to that, I'm adding 2/3 of a cup of milk, and this is 2% milk, but if you have whole milk, or if you have almond milk, or if you have another kind of milk that you like, go ahead and use that. 2/3 of a cup of flour, and this is all-purpose flour that I'm using today. If you happen to have issues with gluten, by all means you can use a 1-to-1 substitution of a gluten-free flour. It'll be exactly the same. And then there are 2 tablespoons of melted butter that we're putting in, and then there is a teaspoon of vanilla. And so we're going to mix that. And you can certainly use a mixer if you wanted to get this incorporated. You could also use an immersion blender. You can use anything that will help to get this mixed, but it's a pretty easy kind of dough. And so you just want to make sure that it's well mixed. And for pancakes, often having a few lumps is okay, because we don't necessarily need to have it be totally smooth. This is pretty well incorporated now, and so I am going to go ahead and pour it gently over the peaches in the pie pan, because you're wanting to cover them. And what you'll find as it bakes is that some of them will kind of float to the top and others will not. But as you can see, it's already started to get kind of ooey and gooey and look really good in the pan before we even start. I'm going to gently pour this over the peaches. because I want to cover them. And I like to use a fairly deep pie pan just because that makes it a little bit less likely that it will cook over. This is not typically something that cooks over, but it certainly has the possibility of doing that. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this in a 425-degree oven because I'm using glass, and then we're going to come back and show you the finished result. Here is the finished pancake, and you see why it's called Puffy Peach Pancake, because it has puffed up. And so the way that I typically serve it is to dust it with a little bit of powdered sugar. And there's some different ways you can do this because this is a big kind of strainer to be doing this, but it just makes it look prettier. And so you can do that. And then I also, before I go to take it out, I just run around the edge. So that way, typically it's far more likely, if you've sprayed it really well, it probably is going to come out just fine, but it just lets you do this. So I cut it in wedges, and then take it out like a piece of pie. And so here is the finished product. And as you can see, the peaches are in there. And so it's got cinnamon and powdered sugar and peaches. It's a delicious treat. If you make this and you have leftovers, by all means, let it cool and then cut it into wedges. And then you can put it between pieces of either plastic wrap, not plastic wrap, but parchment paper or wax paper once it's cool, and then put it in a freezer safe box or in a bag, and then you can pull it out and just microwave it until it's warm and you're ready to have breakfast again. That's also a good tip if you've made pancakes on the stove, that it's easy for you to just be able to put them in the freezer and then have them for all week. So hopefully you'll give this a try. It's a delicious recipe, and I hope you can add it to your repertoire of breakfast ideas.